Hi, I'm Ikisha Batsaule, a national level track and field athlete. I was not born with athleticism. I was built through discipline. I was built through failures. I was built through the early mornings, painful injuries, missed celebration, and the constant battle of trying to balance between school and sports. People usually see the medals, they see the applause, they see the certificates, they see the awards. But they do not see the mornings when I wanted 5 more extra hours, 5 more extra minutes of sleep more than anything else. They do not see the days when my body was in pain, but I still showed up to train. They do not see the tears. They do not see the setbacks, the loneliness, and the moments when quitting felt much more easier than continuing. Today, I'm not here to talk about winning. Today, I'm here to talk about what it actually takes to keep going. By 8 a.m., I was sitting exactly where you are, trying to keep myself awake, trying to focus on the board when my legs were hurting after my training session, trying not to let my exhaustion show up. By the time my classmates entered the school, I had already lived an entire day. Yes, I had already sweated, run, trained, stretched, and pushed myself for 4 hours. Yes, 4 long, early morning, rigorous hours. Sometimes I would sit in the school holding my head in my hand because I was so tired. Sometimes climbing the stairs itself was so hard than the training sessions. And yet, I still wrote every note. I still answered every question. And yes, I still showed up. I am sure many of you must have felt sleepier in the school than on your beds. Good, I feel you all. And every single day, I was torn between two words: academics and athletics, books and dreams. People would often ask me, Ikisha, what will you choose? And my answer remains the same every single time. I do not want to choose. Because you do not have to choose, you have to manage it. My journey in athletics began in grade 3. And to be honest, I was really very bad at it. I was tiny, quiet, easy to overlook. Hardly anyone noticed me. But then, one day, I won my first event at the school sports day. And that feeling changed everything. For the first time, I felt what it was like to believe in myself. And from that day onwards, I kept running. At first, things were not so easy. I participated at the district level, but I hardly cleared the heats and quarterfinals. I would go from writing my exams in the morning to running on the ground for competitions by afternoon. Yes, that was my reality for years. In 6th grade, things slowly began to change. I reached the finals of the 600 meters for the very first time. Training became more serious. Mornings became harder, and the pressure became bigger. By 8th grade, I had finally achieved the timing I had been working so hard for. You know that medal winning timing? Yes. I was ready. But then, just 10 days before the competition, everything fell apart. I had developed a high fever. At first, nobody knew what it was. every test came back normal. Malaria, dengue, swine flu, everything. But the fever would not go away. For 15 continuous days, I was stuck in bed. Finally, we found out it was typhoid. I still remember lying there, too weak to even sit up properly. My spikes were lying in the corner of my room untouched. My books remained open, but yet I did not have any strength to study. I could hear people talking about the competitions I had been preparing months for, and I knew I still could not show up for that event. For the first time in my life, I felt very helpless. That year, everything changed. I went from being a merit award holder with a perfect 100% attendance to someone who could not even sit for her semester exams. My winning streak ended everywhere, on the track, and even in the school. But in that difficult moment, my teachers stood beside me. They never pressured me. Instead, they told me something I still remember today. Your health matters more than anything else. Then came the ninth grade, and then came the COVID. Suddenly, there was no track, no proper training, just uncertainty. For a second, I thought that my entire career as an athlete had been put on a pause. But still, I continued the practice. But when the things opened in grade 10th, I stepped back onto the track. And for the very first time, I won medals at the state level competitions. And also, at the same time, I scored 93.66% in my board exams. That was the moment I realized something really very important. I did not have to sacrifice one dream for another. I could chase both. Discipline on the track made me more disciplined in the classroom. Training did not distract me from studies. Instead, it made me more focused. But the real foundation of my journey was never me alone. It was my family. Every morning at 3:45 a.m., my mother woke up with me. She packed my breakfast. She filled my water bottle. She reminded me to eat and insisted me even when I told her that I was not hungry. She never complained. She never said she was tired. But now, when I look back, I realize she was sacrificing her sleep for me. Not just her sleep, but an entire career for me. My father worked 14 to 15 hours a day, just so he could afford my training costs. And despite being exhausted himself, he still drove me to the training sessions early in the morning. And my coach had an unwavering belief in me, even on the days I stopped believing in myself. I still remember the days when post-training I told my coach that I do not think I can do this anymore. And every single time, my coach looked at me and said, Ikisha, you're more stronger than this moment. Keep going. By 11th grade, things began to improve. I started breaking records at the Council for the Indian School Certificate Examinations at the state and national levels. I began winning the Best Athlete awards again and again. That momentum carried me all the way to the 12th grade. I qualified for the School Games Federation of India. and suddenly, I was standing amongst the top 8 athletes of the country in 400 meters. At the same time, I saw my name in the list for the National Khelo India Youth Games. I was thrilled. I felt like everything I had been working for was finally coming together. But life does not always follow the script you imagine. A few days later, after coming back from the competition, a new list was released. And this time, my name was gone. I cannot explain the heartbreak of that moment. I questioned everything. I questioned whether I was good enough. I questioned whether I should continue the game. But once again, my parents stood beside me, not with pressure, but with support, mentally, emotionally, completely. At the same time, my 12th board exams were approaching. I was emotionally exhausted. But somewhere in that silence, I made a promise. I told my parents, no matter what happens, even if my AFI competition falls in between my exams, I am still going to compete, no matter what. Because at that point of time, I realized that it was not about winning anymore. It was about not giving up. Fortunately, during my board exams, there was a week's gap. And at that moment, I made a promise. I took a decision of participating in that competition. Tickets were booked, and hence there was no turning back. Under the scorching summer heat, I stood on the track. My heart was racing. I looked around at the other athletes, and then I looked at the stands. I saw my parents. In that moment, years of sacrifice flashed before my eyes. The 4 a.m. mornings, the missed vacations, the birthdays I could not attend, the pizza I said no to, the days when I cried, the days when I came to school tired, and the days when I wanted to quit. And then the race began. When I crossed the finish line, at first, I did not look at the clock. I looked at my parents. My mother was crying. My father had both hands on his head in disbelief. And in that moment, I felt that my entire sacrifice felt worth it. I had won my first federation medal. I was no longer just an athlete. I was a national medalist. But the story does not end there. The very next day, I was back in an exam hall writing my 12th final board paper. And guess what? When the results came out, I had scored a distinction. That phase of my life taught me something I'll never ever forget. You do not have to choose between books and dreams. You can chase both, but yes, it does come with a cost. While other people were making weekend plans, I was making training schedules. Yes, while my friends were eating pizza after school, I was carrying boiled eggs and fruits in my tiffin box. Yes, while others were making vacation plans and sleepover plans, I was checking what time I have to come the next day for training session. There were moments that really hurt me. There were moments when I felt left out, but I never ever regretted it. Because why should I feel sorry for working towards the life I want? I always believed in one thing: no pain, no gain. Even today, at 4 a.m., you will still find me awake, still training, still disciplined, still focused, still chasing my dreams while pursuing my bachelor's degree in sports and exercise science. So, today, I want to tell that every student, every dreamer, and every person standing at a crossroad, you do not have to choose between books and dreams. You do not have to chase one dream for another. What you really need is not less ambition. What you need is a better time management. Yes, it will be hard. Yes, you will be tired. Yes, people will doubt you. But remember this, the life you want will always demand more than the life you're comfortable with. So wake up early, stay disciplined, stay focused, because one day, all those mornings, all those painful moments, all those sacrifices will become something powerful. Not just success, but a story worth telling. Thank you.